She just seems very lively and friendly. I just hope that the truth comes out and she gets justice. Music, I hope you're doing well. Today, we're meeting for a new video and we're meeting for a new JVDT. In today's video, we're going to talk about David, or rather the 4 voids. I admit, I have no idea how to pronounce his stage name, his username. So we're going to stick with David. I don't know if you saw the story on your social media. One thing is certain, I've never received so many messages for a video this year, but we're going to dive into one of the most disturbing and also controversial cases of the last month in the United States, the discovery of a teenage girl's body in the car of an ultra-famous magician. It all started with a complaint about a suspicious odor in a Hollywood tow truck, and it quickly evolved into a potential homicide investigation. In this video, we're going to talk about everything. It might be very long. We're going to talk about his career, his problematic relationship with a 13-year-old child. Years old when he was an adult. We're going to analyze his music videos, the different theories. So before the video starts, you already know. Don't forget to subscribe, it's very, very important. First question. Who is this David? Personally, I knew him without really knowing him. He has a song that really got a buzz on TikTok called Here With Me. You see, it's the music that makes it. There's also this one that's quite well known. But first, let's talk about him, about the person. His real name is David Anthony Burke. He was born in March 2005 in Queens, New York. But very early on, he moved with his family to Houston, Texas. Today, he's a singer, songwriter, and producer, and he's only 20 years old. He comes from a middle-class family and grew up in a fairly ordinary environment. In his family, music seems to be a family passion. It was even his parents who pushed him to make music. But his early career is quite curious. It's not at all because he started doing covers on YouTube. Nothing to do with it. David had a passion, video games. He posted videos of his Fortnite games on YouTube. So yes, as I told you, nothing to do with music. And at the time, he was training to become a professional player because he was part of an esport team. But YouTube, you know how annoying they are, they deleted his videos very often. He got struck because of the music he used for copyright reasons. So at the end of 2021, he decided to create his own songs. Except that in the end his music got more buzz than his performances in the game. At that time, he was 18 years old. So David, he started to spend more time writing and recording than playing. These songs were mainly romantic music when in reality, well, he didn't know much about love. To tell you the truth, in reality, he didn't really have a social life. David, he had a rather unusual childhood. He grew up in a very, very strict Christian family. He was homeschooled. Until he was 13, he only listened to gospel music at home, as well as a little classical and jazz. And so, we will learn that the painful love stories that sang in his songs were all imagined since he had never really experienced a love story. In an interview, he said that he spent most of his time locked up at home, but since he read a lot of books and watched a lot of films, he was inspired by what he saw and what he read to invent characters for his music. The real turning point in his career came in 2022 when he adopted his pseudonym, So4Empty, and the first songs that were successful were So Here With Me, and then there was Romantic Homicide, which would really become the music of his career. The song Romantic Homicide talks about a somewhat obsessive love. Well, that's going to be the word in the video. It also evokes the death of someone, which in hindsight is quite strange. And I'm not going to delve into the lyrics now because in part of the video, we're going to really dig into all these clips and all the lyrics of these songs. All I can tell you is that this guy has a style of music, well, he has a rather strange penchant for death, like really. And without any further transition, let's talk about what happened on September 8th, 2025. It all started with the discovery of a body. What happened was that employees of a tow lot in Hollywood reported a strong and unbearable odor coming from a car that had been parked in the tow lot for several days. The car in question was a black 2023 Tesla that had been towed 5 days earlier after being found abandoned for months on the streets of Hollywood Hills in one of Hollywood's most exclusive neighborhoods. Before being sent to the impound lot, the Tesla had been abandoned on the streets of Hollywood Hills and neighbors had noticed its presence. The car had been parked there for about 3 months. But it wasn't just parked on the street in one exact spot. What was quite curious was that the car kept moving. So one day it was on one street, for days later it was on another street. So someone was moving the car. Was it someone, or can Teslas move on their own? I doubt it, but I'm not sure what I learned. But anyway, in the end, the tow was ordered and the car that was parked on Bluebird Avenue was taken to the impound lot. And so it was on September 8th, as I told you, that the impound employees smelled a horrible odor coming from inside the vehicle and immediately called the police. The police arrived on the scene, approached the car, and decided to open the trunk. Inside, they discovered a black plastic bag containing human remains already in an advanced state of decomposition. The victim was quickly identified visually as a young woman. And to find out more, well, we had to wait until the body was recovered and an autopsy was performed. According to the police, the very hot days had probably accelerated the decomposition, and everything suggests that the remains had been there for at least 2 weeks, maybe more. And that's when I immediately said to myself, but wait, there's a problem. How come the smell was only noticed once at the pound? Why didn't the neighbors report any particular smell? It was on streets where people were walking nearby, people were walking their dogs. How come no one smelled anything? Is there a possibility that the body was placed in the car only after it arrived at the impound lot or shortly before? These are questions, of course, still unanswered since the case is so recent. It didn't take long to identify the Tesla's owner, and the Tesla was registered to David Antonio Burke. So, at that time, David was in the middle of a US tour. He was performing in Chicago and then Minneapolis, and he already had several other concerts planned. So, suffice it to say, he hadn't been in the area for a while. And shortly after the case became public, a spokesperson for the singer confirmed that he had been informed by the authorities of this discovery and was cooperating fully with the investigation. In detail, his car had been stolen. There you go, his car was stolen, a 2023 Tesla, but strangely, no report had been made to the police. The day after this body was discovered in the car, believe it or not, a second body was found in another impound lot, this time in South Los Angeles. And that's where I found it very suspicious. Many people are wondering if this is a setup against this David in question, but you'll see that when we move forward, we'll say that there are many things that incriminate him, but this second car, which was not David's, had nothing to do with him, was partially burned and also contained charred human remains. But despite this coincidence, the authorities have confirmed that for the moment the two cases are not linked for the moment, because for the moment, as far as Celeste, the girl who was found in the first car is concerned, we don't even know if it's murder or not because we don't know the cause of her death. So it's normal that for the moment they can't connect anything. But let's go back to David. The repercussions were immediate because he is very well known, and as I told you, when the body was discovered, they identified that it was a woman, and according to the medical examiner, the body was that of a child, which is very sad to say. It was the body of a young girl. She was about 1.55 m tall. She had wavy black hair. She was wearing a bustier top, leggings, and 2 pieces of jewelry. So she had earrings and a necklace. And something that will allow the body to be identified quite easily, the tattoo. She had a tattoo on her index finger where it was written, "So we can see a sign of silence." And the first coincidence that people will immediately notice is that the owner of the car, David, has exactly the same tattoo on the same finger on his index finger. So it's still an unoriginal tattoo. There are other celebrities who have it. I think Rihanna has it too. But still, it's important to mention that David has this tattoo. So he's a singer, why not? But this 13-year-old girl there too. Like a 13-year-old girl with a tattoo. Quickly, a woman suggested that it could be her daughter who had been missing for a year and a half, and very quickly, it was confirmed that the body belonged to Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a 15-year-old girl who disappeared in April 2024 in Riverside County, about 80 kilometers from Los Angeles. She was born in 2010 and was reported missing on April 5, 2024. She was only 13 years old. The details of her latest disappearance, since she had already run away, are not very clear. And once again, we don't know if she disappeared or if it was another runaway that went wrong. Her mother claimed in interviews that her daughter was seeing a boy named David who was older and who lived in Los Angeles, and to top it all off, who took her to concerts and parties. Her mother confirmed that she had a photo of the two of them together, and Celeste's brother told her that the night of Celeste's disappearance or runaway, her sister was supposed to go see a movie with her boyfriend, but she never came. And the internet, you know how it is. People will very quickly find information, photos of videos, and of course people will dig into these music videos, and there we will have a lot of things to say, and above all, well, it will take on a gigantic scale because he is still very well known in the United States. He has photos with Billie Eilish. He has photos with Billie Eilish. He was supposed to participate in festivals. He was supposed to participate in Olace, if I'm not mistaken. We're talking about a very famous singer with millions of subscribers who was supposedly seeing an underage fan who was found in the trunk of his car. Honestly, it was a godsend for the media, let's not lie. Like, everything came together in the story to make it go viral. On Twitter, as you can imagine, everyone started pointing the finger at David. People were accusing him of killing her. But the Los Angeles Police Department, which is leading the investigation, stated on September 18th that it is not currently a homicide investigation because, as I told you, the authorities still don't know how she died. We can read in an article. This could become a homicide investigation, but nothing has been confirmed yet, as the coroner hasn't confirmed the cause of death yet. Perhaps she took drugs and died a natural death. Well, if she died a natural death, one thing is certain, someone hid her body in a trunk. So it's true that on the internet, we read everywhere that David had asked for it, that she had been, because people, they love to make things as awful as possible, but for the moment we don't know if she really was seen. So here it is. The information that the police are going to give us is that at the time of her death, she was 14 years old, that her body was found on September 8th, and that her disappearance was reported in April, and that she would have been dead for several weeks. Which means that she did not die directly after her disappearance, and that during this time, she was necessarily somewhere. So the question, another question of course that is added to their investigation, where was she all this time? What was she doing? Was she with David voluntarily? Was she under his influence? Does it have nothing to do with David? That too is something that we will see as the investigation progresses. I think that this video will have several parts because you will see that you suspect, well, it happened on September 8th. We do not have all the answers yet at the moment. Now, we're going to talk about Celeste's relationship with David, because as much as the police are trying to keep it all very secret, people on the internet will very quickly find evidence that they did indeed know each other despite all the discretion put in place. So here it is. The information that the police are going to give us is that at the time of her death, she was 14 years old, that her body was found on September 8th, and that her disappearance was reported in April, and that she would have been dead for several weeks. Which means that she did not die directly after her disappearance, and that during this time, she was necessarily somewhere. So the question, another question of course that is added to their investigation, where was she all this time? What was she doing? Was she with David voluntarily? Was she under his influence? Does it have nothing to do with David? That too is something that we will see as the investigation progresses. I think that this video will have several parts because you will see that you suspect, well, it happened on September 8th. We do not have all the answers yet at the moment. Now, we're going to talk about Celeste's relationship with David, because as much as the police are trying to keep it all very secret, people on the internet will very quickly find evidence that they did indeed know each other despite all the discretion put in place. Discretion on David's part, not on the police's. David and Celeste would have met her when she was 11 and he was 16. Something that will confirm this is a TikTok posted by David himself, where we can read, when your credit card is refused for therapy, and which brings back this Hello Kitty girl that I met in 2021. Coincidence or not, in 2021, Ceased was 11 years old, and what's more, she was a big Hello Kitty fan. On top of that, the day he posted this TikTok, he also posted a story. So it was in February 2024, shortly before his disappearance. He took a picture with Celeste, who was wearing her Hello Kitty Crocs. So there you have it. We know that he was with her at that time, and if for you that's not reliable enough proof that they had known each other for that long, we also have messages exchanged between him and a Celestial on Discord in 2022. We can see that on Discord. He says, "Celeste, are you there?" And she replies, "Hi David Burke." And there you have it. As I mentioned, we have a pretty big age difference since we are 5 years apart. So at the beginning, he talks to her when she is 11 and he is 16. I already find that super strange. And later, when they were supposedly a couple, be careful, nothing is confirmed, he was 18 and she was 13. I don't know why, but I find it even weirder because he's even older and she's still a child. You see, I don't know if you know this or not, but in California, the legal age of consent is 18. So any relationship with someone under 18 is considered a crime, even if the minor gives their consent. So without talking about the crime, the possibility that he committed a crime, he can already be prosecuted for that alone. He was perfectly aware that it was prohibited. We'll see live clips, we'll see a lot of information. X's investigators found David's Discord and Celeste's Discord. They found a photo of Celeste when she was 11 and that's when she started talking to the singer. Don't make me believe that he didn't know she was 11, please. That's not all. On this Discord, they found this message. So David says me and delete user. Delete user, it was Celeste, got a kid on the way. So for those who don't know how to speak English, that basically means she was pregnant. So after whether it was true or not, but in any case he put it on his Discord thing. They also found this photo, the same from the losers, it was Celeste's account with the video tattoo and the engagement ring, and they found this story with the same ring, the small tattoo, the same, they found this photo. We can clearly see that it's the top of Celeste's face with her hair. In fact, he wasn't hiding that much. Internet users will dig into this possible relationship and will therefore analyze the clips, the lyrics, and everything indicates that he had a very strong fixation on a girl in question, and people assume that it was Celeste. For example, he released the video for the song Romantico Misside on Celeste's 12th birthday, if I'm not mistaken. Then the following year, he released the song, Rab, one day after her 13th birthday. And we know that the song was released late because there was a problem with the download. So maybe it was also planned to be released on his birthday. As I told you, David's songs are quite peculiar. He has a rather strange attraction to all things morbid. So, it's not the bottom. There are more and more of them romanticizing death, suicide, toxic relationships. But beyond that, people also noticed that in these music videos, David often used female models who looked strangely like Celeste. We know that he couldn't appear together because they were trying to hide. So, was it maybe a way of representing his girlfriend in his music videos? Maybe. And if we listen to the translated lyrics today, well, if we focus on the lyrics, actually the lyrics even back then were weird, but if we focus on them now knowing the context and maybe what he did, it's even weirder. And we're going to analyze all of this together, the music, the lyrics, the music videos that David has released in recent years. In March 2022, he released a song called Lost, So I'm Lost. This song didn't have any music videos yet, but it did have a cover. And this cover only has two elements. A shadowy silhouette of someone seeming to rise towards the sky and in the background a car, nothing else. Of course, for people, it didn't take more than that. A car and a soul. For many, it really made one think that the young girl had been found dead in a car. And if we focus on the lyrics, he says at one point, "I'm going to miss you, my love." There you go. That was in March 2022. As I said, she disappeared in 2024. Her body was found lifeless in September 2025. So many people talk about premeditation, but I admit that, in my personal opinion, I don't think that at that time, he premeditated that he was going to do this with Celeste 3 years later. I think it's just leaning towards the morbid, you see. But let's continue. On September 7th, 2022, as I told you, on Celeste's 12th birthday, he released the romantic song Homicidal. And in the video, we see a young woman. We see her very rarely, but the shot clearly shows her face, and for many, there is a great resemblance to Celeste. In this song, he says a lot of things. At one point, he says, "In the back of my mind, you're dead, and I didn't even cry. No, not a single tear." Then at another point, he says, "In the back of my mind, I killed you and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I told you, but it's true, I hate you." In November 2022, he released the song Here With Me. At first glance, the lyrics seem like a simple declaration of love. The lyrics are a little cute. I had made a montage of me and Marco with this music. That's why it's very strange to learn all this now, because the lyrics are basically cute. But if we put Celeste in the current context, that is to say that she died, that she was found dead in a car, that we have sub-sounds that he was very, very obsessed with her, very jealous, we see the lyrics in a different way. He says, "What if it's right? I don't care how long it takes. As long as I'm with you, I'm smiling." So, as I said, we just see a banal phrase, but today many think he was referring to the time it would take until she reached the age of majority, and that emphasizes this obsession with her, or at least that they had a relationship. In the clip, the actress also looks like strongly to Celeste, and he spends the entire video together at the beach, at the movies, having fun. But the ending is different because they cuddle and the girl becomes a shadow while he becomes a light, as if they were separated by life and death. And at one point, he says, "I wish I could live through every memory of you just one more time before the wind takes you away." In January 2023, he released the song Dirty Secrets. Music, and in the lyrics, he says, "I know the secrets you keep." And he adds that he sent 115 messages to the person without getting a response. There, once again, people, they said that we can see an aspect of a very possessive person that we also see in other music. Oh yeah, quite curious, I forgot to mention it. In David's clip, we often see him, we see this other woman, but we also see David appearing secondly. He is often dressed in white or black with an outfit covered in blood. And it's as if he's observing the clip from the outside. You see, for example, in this clip we see him, he has a blindfold over his eyes, an outfit with lots of blood stains, and this character comes back several times in other clips. Tommy, which means pain in Japanese, and he wears his blindfold, and he's basically an agent of chaos and kind of my all-ego, and the story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, and he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as a detective. So like when I was a detective, I'd be like murder committing myself. In February 2023, he released the song Placebo Effect. In this music video, we see him lying on the ground in a deserted parking lot. So people think it might be a reference to the Pound. And suddenly, a van drives into the frame and several people dressed all in white get out, take his body and place it. Guess where? In the trunk of the car. In the lyrics he says, "I need you here, but you're not here. I think we'll meet again on the other side, where the light never goes out." In April 2023, I think this is the worst, he publishes a video called From Petals to Thorns, and for me it's almost a confession. He doesn't sing, but he recites a kind of poem. I read it to you, but really if you have the opportunity, go and listen just to his very calm way of speaking. Honestly, it made me feel bad. Like, I was writing my script in the evening, I was like, oh, I stopped, I started again in the morning. But there you have it, the white rose, a universal symbol of purity, loyalty, and romance. Yet, that's not why I became attached to it. Because you see, when a human being is emptied, they become pale and lifeless. Just like the rose, beautiful to the eyes but condemned to be admired only from afar. The day we dare to welcome it, its thorns pierce the flesh. A part of me, let's say my other self, abandons itself to its thorns, gorging itself on the blood of its own negligence, without even questioning the deceptive beauty that blinds it. Blindfolded, they seek only to flee the hell that has built itself. A prison where only pain has the right to reign. I have sown this part of myself throughout this project. In her melodies, in her words, in my voice. You'll know her when you meet her. So, follow me on this journey and let's peel the rose petal by petal until there's nothing left and my hands are forced to grasp it by the spikes. I feel like I'm in French class. It's horrible. And in the comments, we can read no, but really, this man is openly confessing. These titles are confessions. He separates the character with the blindfold from himself as if the character was doing evil and he represented good wearing the blindfold to escape the hell that created itself. It disturbs me. He seems really disturbing. So there, she is talking about the character who appears each time in the music video, those second David. Also in April 2023, he released the music video for Sleep Well. So sleeps well. It's music that had already been released but not the music video. And here again the actress for many looks like Celeste. Throughout the video, we see them in various situations. But at the end the young girl who looks like Celeste points a gun. So I think she points a fake gun. She just points her hand like that at David's temple. And from there, the scene changes. She becomes a kind of ghost appearing behind him, so like a shadow on the wall, you see? And for many, it symbolized the fact that she died after threatening him in the music video. And we haven't talked about that yet because that's the next part of the script. But we'll get to that. Many think that one of the reasons David could have killed her, if he did, because for now we don't know, would be the fear that his relationship with a minor would be discovered because, as we know, he was trying to hide this relationship and he would have been afraid that it would destroy his career, and he would have killed. So for many, it could represent the same thing in the video, but we'll come back to that later. Let's continue with the music. In March 2024, he will release Feel It. Once again, the lyrics, we could understand the obsession he could have with this celestial figure or with someone. And tell yourself that this music came out in me before his disappearance. We can read, I'm ready to break down the door, to settle our scores. I can't let you escape. I miss your smile. You know I love you. Then in another part, he will say, you told me one day that I was crazy. I said, yes, babe, I know, but I can't let you go. So don't get me started. I want no yes, no maybes, because maybes take me back to where you found me. So don't go. And then in another chorus, he says, I told her I love her, but she thinks it's at stake. Oh no! She smells awkward. I never want to reduce it to a single dimension, but I don't know how we got here. Don't get me started on that. Not now. I can't let you go. I told her I loved her, but she thought it was a game. I can't let her go. She feels uncomfortable. I can't let you escape. In February 2025, he released the music video for the song One More Dance, so One More Dance. So, here, Celeste has already been missing by her family for almost a year. And the lyrics contain a rather interesting passage. The heavier the rain, the heavier the burden. After seeing you leave, did they break up, leave in the sky? And in the music video, we see a scene where she is placed in the trunk of the car, where she will be found a few months later. So, basically, as I told you, I don't think everything was premeditated. I don't know what you think about it and who was planning from 2022 to maybe kill her in 2025. But there is still this question of, does this guy not have a problem in his head? Like, does he have a rather particular style, or was there something dark inside him and a morbid obsession with this girl and finally he went beyond doing something like that? We can ask ourselves the question when we focus on the lyrics. Afterwards, it's maybe just his rather morbid artistic style as I told you. Anyway, let's close the parentheses for the music and come back to other things that people have found on the internet. There's a video from January 11th, 2024 that was shared on Twitter where we see Celeste alongside David during a live performance. For many, she seems a little disguised with big quotation marks. In any case, she tries to hide her face a little. She then wears a hoodie and large glasses. On January 11th, she is not supposed to be gone yet. And at one point in the live performance, David asks the moderator to delete the video after it was broadcast. He does not want the live performance to remain recorded. And people will say that it's most likely because they knew that Sue was underage and that he shouldn't be seen with her. There's also something else that circulated. It was a demo of a song and the song was called Celeste. So I think there's no doubt that they really had a relationship together, like, really. Oh yeah, I almost forgot that too. He had been spotted at Ceased S, meaning that Des fans had recognized him on Celeste S Street, or in the neighborhood anyway. There's a photo that shows that he was really a few streets away from her house. Let's get back to the investigation. As I told you, they executed a search warrant and did I say it or not? I think I said it. They executed a search warrant in a house located on the same block where the Tesla had been found before being towed to the pound. Investigators seized various things like computers and phones. The house had been rented by David's manager, but it was indeed the singer who stayed there. There's really something that won't go out of my head. there's no way Celeste's body was in the car when the Tesla was parked on the street. Because I'm thinking if the impound lot smelled it right away after 3 days.